The church was organized and consecrated in the year 1825, which means we will be celebrating 200 years of ministry here in the city of Decatur. My name is Matthew McMahon. I'm the minister of music, choir master, and organist here at Decatur Presbyterian Church.
This time shall follow me all. Just do a little slight pulse on the tie fill.
I inherited a well-trained choir when I came here, and so I don't take all the credit for building the program here. It was well established before I came. When this church was founded, they started with a paid quartet in 1825. A few years later, they doubled the size and paid a double quartet, so they had 8 paid singers. And that goes to the beginning of the history of this church. They saw the importance of good music and made sure that the path was laid for a good history of good church music, and for which I'm grateful.
When I go hear other choirs, I certainly don't think they're as do as well a job as we certainly do. But I'm up there in the group singing, so I'm not out here listening to us. I'm a soprano and have been in the choir since I was a child, then as a youth, and then in the chancel choir. I'm in a lot of different activities at the church, but one of the biggest activities is being a member of the choir. It's a social thing, not only just singing and celebrating the Lord and praising the Lord, but you make such good friends over the years. And there are members of the choir that have been here a long time, and we have a lot of wonderful new choir members. That's wonderful to have the young people, some of the young people start joining the choir.
I'm Donna Cusick, and I joined the choir back in 1969. So I think I'm the senior tenured person, not the oldest yet, but so I think I've been in there because I was 18 and I was at Agnes Scott, and D.G. Roberts, who sang in the choir, and I was a voice major, and when I sang, she played for me lots of places, and she just thought I should be in the choir. Through the years, we've had consistency. And so I don't know if it's evolved so much as it's just maintained a good quality and a good standard of music. And I think that's really what the people of this congregation like to hear. So, and probably not a Sunday goes by that I don't run into somebody in the congregation that thanks us, for the music, so.
My name is Ron Warren, and I'm currently choir president. I've been in the choir a very long time. I can't remember when I actually joined the choir, but it was in the 80s. The journey has been very rewarding. Music is, to me, the biggest part of worship. And without music, the pieces, to me, don't connect. And that's the glue that holds it all together.
We've always had the support of the church. The elders and the staff members are very supportive of the choir, and that helps a lot.
We thank you, good Lord, for hearing our voice, for responding to our prayers, for leading us in the way.
I'm Todd Speed. I'm the senior pastor of Decatur Presbyterian Church. I've been here 16 years now. I am someone who loves church music. I love church hymns. It's part of my spiritual practice and sustenance is the music of the church. The chancel choir here is wonderful. Every Sunday, Matt chooses anthems, and we work together choosing hymns that work with the theme of the church and the text that I'm preaching on, and it's a really collaboration between the preaching and the music. I hope to offer sermons that are worthy of what the chancel choir brings every Sunday, because they have such a good reputation and such a meaning to the members of the church. And I'm well aware that there are a number of our worshipers who come for the music, and that's fine with me. I do as well.
I've had people come up to me and say, the choir is the main reason I come to church. What can you say to that? It's like, thank you.
I'm Neil Davies. I have been a member of the church for approximately 35 to 37 years, and I lose track after a while. I am a member of the choir and have been ever since I've been in the church. I've served as president of the chancel choir once. I've sung in choirs my entire life, including youth choirs in the Baptist church, collegiate choirs, community choirs. This one at Decatur Presbyterian Church really got my interest the first day I attended church here because of its proclivity to do classical works, particularly those in Latin. I've always been a fan of that style of music, and the music program here at this church is second to none in Metro Atlanta.
My name is Tom Adams. I am a baritone in the choir, and I've been in the choir probably for maybe 30 years or something like that, 40, something like that. It's a group of people with a certain skill set and an interest and willingness to get involved, and so you have a lot of commonality in those things with all those people.
I'm R.G. Evans. I'm a member of the choir here, and I'm also a part-time staffer. We moved over here 13 years ago when shortly after my grandsons were born, and they both live here. And we found out about this choir and heard a soundbite. We came and joined, and so, wow, now we get to be a part of it. That's, that's very special when you get to be part of something that's as good as our music is here.
We wanted to find a church that we could worship in the way that spoke to us. And when we heard this choir, heard Matt McMahon play that organ, when we heard the spirit in this church, it was just like spoke to us. It was just us. So we loved it from the very, very first minute.
We really struck gold when RG and Lynn joined Decatur Presbyterian Church. They called the church on a Wednesday afternoon. I remember it like it was yesterday. Asked about church supper. They asked about music. They had found us online and they thought, wow, they have a good sound. Maybe we should try there. They were living in an apartment not far from here. And they came Wednesday night for supper. I met them and just instantly fell in love with both of them. And they stayed for choir. And they've been here ever since. And they never thought of going anywhere else, and assimilated beautifully within the musical life of this church into the, RG is on staff. His wife, Lynn, she served on the committee structure on the worship council. She and I worked and founded the current church Flower Guild, which does absolutely gorgeous work. So it's a multifaceted, multi-talented couple, and we are grateful to have them here.
Oh my goodness, it has just made all the difference in our lives. The choir immediately accepted us. We went out to have drinks with them that same night and every night after that. And they became our family. They became our friends. The music spoke to us. It just changed our lives. That's all I can say.
I've been singing in choir since I was 5 years old. And I've had some good musicians and I've had some poor musicians. Matt's the best. He's absolutely the best.
I think Matt is marvelous, really. Especially he's a organist, best organist we've ever had. Since Matt has been here, I'd say, our performances, or what he gets out of us, is even better than anyone has ever done before.
Matt is really dedicated, heart and soul. He and Lori, his wife, are both very dedicated to the music program here. And Wesley, his son, one of his two sons, is a really good tenor who does do solos for us from time to time. And it's just a pleasure to be around that family.
I direct the children's choirs. I remember the first time I actually sang with the choir. That day, I remember thinking, wow, it just made me feel wonderful from inside. Not so much that I was singing just in my husband's choir, but just the camaraderie of everybody and being there. And I thought, I've made it. My kids are kind of on their own, and I can sing without any worries, you know.
I've known a lot of people that have come and gone, but we still have a good core group of people that have been here for a while that you can always depend on. Whatever the need may be.
Most of my friends that I socialize with on a regular basis are in the choir. And so we often see each other outside of church services and communicate regularly. Donna loves theater, and so do we, and so we often go to plays together. And so since I've joined the choir, that's been my social life, besides my family.
It is definitely a family. For primary volunteer choir, it is an amazing group of musicians. It never ceases to amaze me, the quality of music. And that has a lot in part to do with what Matt teaches us and selects for us to perform. But the musicianship of the choir is, in my opinion, exceptional.
Every now and then, we'll rehearse things and we'll think, maybe we're not quite ready, or I hope we can get this right. And you get in there and somehow, I always say, God lives in the sanctuary and things kind of just come together. And I mean, literally, you can almost feel the Holy Spirit sometimes when you sing. And that really every Sunday kind of does that, sometimes more than others. But you can feel it sometimes in the music.
Singing with the congregation is the whole church together praising God. And that's what we're about. That's, at least in my mind, that's what we need to be about. God's very important in my life, I think. And obviously, there wouldn't be a church if there wasn't God. Recognizing Him and praising Him and thanking Him, that's what we do together.
Music is what speaks to us. We couldn't be at a church that sang any kind of music that we didn't appreciate.
Most everyone really seems to enjoy what we're doing, and it's always great to hear words of encouragement from people, and seeking guidance and seeking inspiration from people in the church.
People come to this church because of the traditional music, because of the traditional service, and we haven't really gained a lot of traction in our congregation or community with some of those more contemporary services because of the excellence of the music that we do. And so it's there's a wonderful book called Beyond the Worship Wars, which talks about authenticity and excellence are more important really than the form and style. And so that if you're doing traditional music with authenticity and excellence, that can really speak to people of any generation. And that we found that to be somewhat true. And being in the Decatur area, there's lots of people around, and there's a certain percentage of those are going to choose a church that has more traditional hymns and anthems.
We have such amazing voices in the choir. We have some staff singers, but everybody in there has good voices, because if there's not good voices, Matt won't let us sing. So we have this wonderful harmony, and It's so beautiful.
You know, the music that we sing on Sunday mornings and other services is the best it can be. And everybody just has a love for what we do. You know, it's just a big, it really is, like I said before, it's a family. There's a lot of camaraderie. You know, when one of us is hurting, we're all hurting at the same time. And just the amount of times that people have stepped up when there's a need with one of our own, making, you know, if there's meals that are needed, or recently one of the ladies in the choir had hip replacement surgery, and it required her being out of work for a while. You know, people stepping up and not only providing money but food, and, you know, to help support her while she was away. And that's just the kind of group it is. Everyone steps up, and everyone makes sure that we're, you know, if there's a need, it gets met.
It's like a family. They've helped me out when I've, you know, had struggles, and we help each other, and it's just a really neat family. When I've had problems in my life, they've literally helped me solve them, and they've done a lot for me, and I appreciate everything they've done, and we try to do that for anybody that, you know, needs help, and I really respect that. I think that's an excellent quality, and it has impacted my life. I mean, I've been here that long, and it's kept me here, so I think it really has.
This choir has been one of the things that has kept me going. There have been some rough spots in life, and if it wasn't for this choir, I would have probably given up more than once. But just have this group of people, this loving group of people surrounding me and providing the love, even though they may not have known what was going on necessarily in my life, but knowing that they were there if I needed them, and knowing that this group is a group that is a praying group, and we are all testaments to the fact that our prayers are answered. You know, when you get this group going, you know, there's very little that can't be overcome.
They have a reputation beyond our congregation. Our congregation greatly appreciates them, but they're also, the Decatur Presbyterian Church Chancel Choir is known in the music circles, and the AGO, the American Guild of Organists, and the Presbyterian Association of Musicians. They're known as an excellent choir, as a group to look to. They're appreciated for kind of their camaraderie, and for the ways that they're committed to the ministry of the church. Lots of members of other congregations will come when our choir does something special, like whether it's the Christmas Eve lessons and carols, or the Good Friday Tenebrae, or a Requiem service, that community members will come from around Atlanta to hear them sing.
The experience of singing with the congregation is most meaningful to me when we're processing in and processing out, because we're walking right beside people. And when we're especially meaningful to me when we're walking out. I'm often the first one out on this side, and I catch people's eye as I'm walking out, and they'll smile and just be so grateful to us for singing and singing with us. And then this is the neatest experience ever. We'll walk down the aisle, and the person next to me, Mimi, and I will be the first people down in the back. And we go along the back row, and we get there, it's me and Mimi. Then more and more people come. And so the people that are in the congregation sitting on the back row are singing the hymn, and then they're singing it with me and Mimi, and then they're singing it with me and Mimi and Donna and Jenny, and then they're singing it with all the men coming down, and it just fills up the back of the church with the sound of the choir. And more often than not, the people in the last few rows turn around and go, like, wow, listen at that. It's just neat as anything to me. And then we go out in the narthex and sing the benediction, and that it's a cappella, and that it's just I don't know, that's just a real special thing. So it's just us out there, and it's real tight harmony. It's a real special thing too.
We've always had paid soloists, and that really helps the whole choir. It boosts what you feel comfortable singing. So I don't know if all churches have paid choir members, but I think it's wonderful that we do, and that we would support having orchestras, instruments with us on special occasions to make it a really, it's not a performance, it's a praise of God. I just think the training that you get as a vocalist and the fellowship you get with the other choir members is just something very special that I want everybody to get to enjoy that.
The average age in our choir needs to come down. We are an older choir, but of the members that we have that have been in the choir for as long as I have, they all have some sort of musical training. They're able to read music, usually to play a musical instrument, one or more, to include a keyboard. And so we know how to read music and get up to speed on church classical pieces fairly quickly. And I think we do a really good job. We get compliments from visitors all the time. So as all the members of our choir, I'm very proud of my membership and participation in the church choir. We encourage membership in the choir, and we might have them come and sing just a little bit with Matt, just so Matt can get a good sense for where they would fit best.
I would think that you could be in the congregation and see the level of what the singing is and decide I'd like to participate in this group, and but there's also fun times and inside jokes and things like that are rather enjoyable. It's mostly Matt saying, that sounded like a bunch of screeching owls there, sopranos. Things like that the congregation never really gets to see that part of it. There's no question his comments are very professional. He may add a humorous twist to it to lighten what he's saying, but there's no question that it's very important to him, and it means a lot to a good performance.
The chancel choir members are the most committed members of the church because they're here. Most of them are here pretty much every Wednesday and pretty much every Sunday. I mean, they take an occasional Wednesday or Sunday off, but they are here. They're committed. They're such an important group with each other. They care for each other. They support one another. They're such an important part of the congregation, themselves as a group. But they also care for other people, and they notice. From where they sit, they notice if people who's here and who's not here. Sometimes they'll say, "Hey, have you seen somebody lately?" They care about not just what they're doing; they care about the whole congregation.
That's true. If you add up all the hours spent by staff members or any other volunteer group, if you add up who spends the most time and who's the most dedicated, it's the choir. It's the choir. And I'm not saying that to say, "Oh, well, look at us, aren't we great?" No, we just want it to be good, and we serve the Lord that way. That's the way we use our gifts, and we feel like it's important. It's important to us, and it's important to this church. It's what this church is known for. It's who we are.
All right, let's be blunt. We're old. Most of the choir members are old. There's a lot of young folks who've joined us, thank goodness. But, you know, I'm 78. We've got 80-year-olds in the choir, several of them. And when you look at the choir, you're going, you don't expect much. And then when we sing it, it's like, wow. And that's Matt choosing voices, knowing how to get the best out of us, and insisting on the best. So I expect more of myself now. I mean, you don't settle for mediocrity with Matt. That just doesn't happen. Well, that affects you, not just in choir, but it affects the rest of your life. I do get moved by the music we sing. And a biggest part of my worship experience is music. Always has been. And so to do music of the quality that we do, and as good as that we do it, then that really, it affects me.
We take pride in what we do, and we always want to be better. And in our choir, one of the most challenging things we have to do is to continue to find younger members who are talented musically and invite them to join us to participate so that we don't just reach 95 at the same time and can no longer sing and not have a church choir.
I'm hoping that the bicentennial is going to bring some of our absentee members back in the building with us. It's almost an intangible. If there's not many people here, it just is not the same as when you have a full or nearly full building. And you know, we have about as many people watching online as we do in here. And so I'm hoping that they'll say, wow, you know, I need to get back. That's my hope for what it's going to do for us, as well as, you know, making the community aware. This church has been here almost as long as the city.
Well, anytime a church is able to celebrate this is a huge accomplishment and speaks well of your area and your members. For me personally, I would like to go away from the celebration feeling like I can pass the baton down to somebody else, not just in my position, but to these children that we give so much of our time, effort, and love, that they will be able to continue the church, because it's a different day now. And we all know that. We're very aware of that. So if I could take away one thing, that would be it, that the church would go on and I could see these children in leadership when I'm not here. So
Music can reach the souls of people when just simply the word of faith is spoken. Music has so much potential to reach so many different people and in so many different ways. So using music as a vehicle for evangelizing is a tremendous task and a rewarding experience when you see that someone found a spark, just a small spark of truth in what you're singing and what is being shared. The church loves good music here, and or else I don't think I would have stayed almost 27 years. But I'm really grateful for our time here at the church. It's a good place. It's a good place.